I can't see your eyes.
No, I'm coming down. I'm just getting,
okay.
I'm getting it ready. So,
Okay.
all right. So,
Okay, I'll leave. If it's cool, I'll leave it. It's a little
yeah,
bit of Fela.
yeah.
Okay. It's moving.
I'm recording it now, so it doesn't matter how we start because I'll edit it, you know?
Okay.
So don't worry about any of that.
Yeah, right. Don't worry about a thing. When I think about Juneteenth, though, I think about how people must have felt when the news of so-called freedom came in 1865 to Texas. And, you know, it said they partied for days and days and days, you know, and just the idea of what I say so-called freedom. Mm-hmm. So for us to continue to honor the ancestors that suffered in this land for so long and even before coming to this land. But so it's like the joy and the pain, you know, it's like the celebration of still being here and still giving and sharing our history and culture, but we have to know where it came from as well, you know.
That's right. And we're still learning, and you know, which is why I think this particular event, because it's not just one day, it's you have the parade and you have the festival, but there are all sorts of events that lead up to that and kind of close it.
Right.
I know we're just part of the one day, we're part of that festival, but I thought maybe you can share a little bit about what Juneteenth really looks like in Buffalo, and then we could get into what we try to do to be part of that event.
For one of the first Juneteenth was on Jefferson Avenue in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And so my mother and my first three children are in the picture on Jefferson. And that's one of my favorite pictures because it was like Juneteenth, you know, and it was a new kind of thing. People were out just enjoying, you know, the summer air and each other. So I favor that. And then over the years, it moved from Jefferson to it moved to Fillmore Avenue, and then ultimately into the Dr. Martin Luther King Park, where it's held now. And like you said, for the last few years, I'm not sure how many years, we've had 7 days of Sankofa. This idea of Sankofa to go back and fetch your history, you know, go back and gather your knowledge, the wisdom and the idea of going back to get what you have missed or lost so that you can prepare for the future. So that Sankofa has 7 days of cultural learning, education. Brother Jomo Okono is mainly responsible for some of that, and well, I should say for that, and the raising of the red, black, and green flag in front of City Hall, the bandera, given to us by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So as you say, after the festival, which back in Texas in 1865, it was celebrated on June 19th, but we celebrated on whatever weekend days fall in the teens. So it could be 13th, 14th, could be 15th, 16th, etc. So we celebrate those 2 days, a Saturday and a Sunday. After that, on June 21st, which is summer solstice, we celebrate the Ma'afa. And the Ma'afa is a recognition of the fact that we have gone through enslavement, the recognition of the brutality and the atrocity and the barbaric nature of someone to harness a people for their own wealth. So we speak of that event that has happened, that page in our history, because we know that we weren't born as slaves, but that is a page in our history, and we never want to forget that that is something that has happened to us as a people, and that there's someone, you know, or a group can be so inhumane to another people. You know, I think you had mentioned about being free. You know, what does that mean? As they say, when they when they put Africans into so many slave ships, or I should say enslavement barrels to bring here, they couldn't kill the spirit of the Africans. So we're free in our spirit. That's not going to stop. And our genius and our giving and our culture, but to harness someone's body, as you know, we have the sisters and brothers incarcerated. Say they have my body in here, but they're not going to take my spirit, not going to take my mind, even though for a vast majority of us that has happened. You know, we have, you know, not connected with something greater than ourselves, our ancestors, and our spiritual connection to things. You know, I say we're strong. We're like the water, you know, when you put a big boulder in front of the water just go on around it and keep on moving. Or the earth, you know, the earth is sound, even though they keep blowing it up with things. It's like the earth is still strong. We're strong. Strong like the air is going to continue to be here, the sun, the fire. So all those first four ancestral aspects of ourselves, you know, the earth and the water and the sun and the air, we're in that vibrational rhythm. So that rhythm is not stopping.
Yeah, you're right. It's you know, the Juneteenth definitely, it's a celebration. You know, it's a recognition of the past and the pain, but a celebration of survival. And like you said, the genius and the innovation and the love that you know, that we have. So, you know, I remember when you and I were working together at the Buffalo Public Schools, which the Buffalo Public Schools for a long time really wasn't part of that conversation or part of that, you know, celebration. And so when you and I were working together, and you're like, I just remember the question, like, Michele, why aren't we doing anything for Juneteenth? And I looked at you and I said, I don't know. I don't know why.
I remember you said, let's do it.
Let's do it, right?
Right.
That's right. And I remember it being where we started, you know, just small to see, you know, what we can do. Because I have to be honest, I had never been to a Juneteenth festival. I'm not from Buffalo, but I have never been to one, you know, residing in Buffalo. And so I remember you knew Bill Cooper, and Bill Cooper was also a friend of mine. He's an artist.
That's
and,
right.
You know, we missed him so much. But
yes.
at that time, he had talked to you, and then we all connected. It was a perfect synergy.
Well, yes, well, with Bill Cooper, an ancestor of ours now, but of course, a prolific, internationally known artist, one of our local artists, but he's internationally known.
Yes.
And at Juneteenth one year, you know, he and I spoke because we used to talk about all kind of things, and he's been to Africa so many times. His artwork he called Afrofusion, and he paints to jazz. So we had a conversation, and we talked about the pool in Dr. Martin Luther King Park, which for over 10 years it had just been broken up. The concrete had grass all in between, and this is in Dr. Martin Luther King Park, you know, our park. So we said we should do something, and we thought about a chalk walk, and Bill called it an African chalk walk, and he said he wanted children or the adults or people to come out and try to relate what Africa meant to them. He said it's going to be difficult because we're not taught a lot about what Africa is unless it's in a negative sense a lot of times. So he said, you know, we'll suggest to them to draw, you know, a village, for example, to get attention into the fact that this is a pool which is said to be one of the largest wading pools in the world. You know, we would say, let's bring some energy to this. So we started this African chalk walk, and people did come out and they drew. We had a lot of good energy. I believe you came out too with your children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out there with the boys. Yeah.
So from that particular experience was when I said, Michele, let's do something Juneteenth. And you said, yes, you know, with your budget, you got chalk from from what you do in school. And we took a tiny, we got what Juneteenth committee and got permission, took a tiny little part of the pool and set up the chalk walk. And then you had your tent for the art department, which the children and adults made African art, African masks, and also jewelry with the African designs and, you know, painting and, you know, I think we had face painting at the time. So it was just really like, wow, we could do this. I think a couple of years we were in the pool, and then we moved in front of the Dr. Martin Luther King Monument. And we used that space in front as a canvas for chalking. And you had your large tent for jewelry making and art masks, and people were doing self-portraits, and it was just excellent, wonderful.
Yeah.
I wanted to say in part of this that as a servant in the Buffalo School District, working in the art and music department, I met this young, vibrant, intelligent, beautiful young woman, Michele Agosto, who is like such an advocate for people learning about art and culture and giving so much to the children and their families. So every year, you know, an exhibit in the downtown library, an exhibit in this location, and it's just wonderful to see you do your work and provide as you have for our community, which is, you know, fabulous in my
Thank you, Bilala. I love you so much for that. And you know, I know you say our community, it's my community too. And you know, I feel very connected. I love it. Thank you. So I thought maybe we could talk about our chalk walk, our African heritage cultural chalk walk. It's a lot.
Right, and you gave me that name because with Cooper and I, we were saying African chalk walk. And I think we did that for a couple of times in the park. And then you said, well, Bilala, why don't you add heritage? And I said, okay, African heritage chalk walk. And that is what it's been. And that makes a lot of sense because it is speaking of our heritage. You know, so one of the things, we have another magnificent artist here in Buffalo, Amin Rapata, who makes these templates for children and adults to come out and draw. Some people like Africa this way. But so we introduced the idea of something positive about Africa. One of the symbols, like, you know, we spoke of the Adinkra symbols. And so this Jayame is one of the symbols, one of the most revered symbols for the Akan people of West Africa and out of Ghana. And this symbol represents accept God and the idea that there's one God and that God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. It's like everything is God. And that's one of their main ones. But also this here is also a symbol for Sankofa. And it's this shape, and you would think just a heart, but it also represents go back and fetch your knowledge, which I have another. You could see the bird on this one. So you see that's the heart, that's Sankofa, but this is also Sankofa. And the Adinkra symbols have different affirmations that we could use, you know, for in our life to guide us, to help us think out things. And another one that the children like to draw, and adults, is the heart, just a simple heart. And the heart, of course, is, you know, representing the symbol of love and peace and fondness and patience and all those good things. So we see in the chalk walk, people come out, they're always drawing a heart, you know, they're always drawing something. We say, well, yeah, take this template and draw Africa. What do you think about Africa? And so, you know, you get people to just begin to think in terms of something positive about that part of our history that, you know, for so long has been something negative. But also, let me just say, we also talk about the Ankh, which is out of ancient Africa. And this is representing the key of life. So this idea of life, strength, and health is something we would say to each other in ancient times. Uncle Jopsanev, which is life, strength, and health, as opposed to the English hello. You know? And then the last one I'm gonna do is my aunt. You know, she is representing the same thing that the say the Adinkara, the first symbol of Jayame, belief in everything being one. Well, Ma'at is representing the idea that the feminine energy is what everything rests upon. Mm-hmm. And she is representing truth, justice, righteousness, balance, harmony, reciprocity, and order. She has seven principles. And so when we get to balance with those principles and that feminine energy, we could flip this world to a better place.
All right.
So those are just some of the symbols. History. And so much knowledge and information to go back and fetch, even from this side of the hemisphere or from ancient times, from Mother Africa. Because, you know, first humans come out of Mother Africa, and the whole world is Africa.
Yes, you're right about that. You're right about that. And I love that you have mentioned all the symbols and that Amun-Ra is often there. And I love that every year we do it, he's there. And he, no matter if it's cold, if it's hot, he
working. And all of the information that he shares in that little square, you know, it's amazing. But I mean, in every genre that he touches, he's such a genius brain, like we say, Imhotepian brain, Imhotep being the master craftsman, the master, not just a mathematician, but the one who designed the pyramid, the Great Pyramid. I mean, so these African minds, they can't stop it. You know, the genius that comes out of all of us, you know, but some more than others, but it's there, you know.
Right, and I think that's important, it's there. And so that's why I love Juneteenth, because it reinforces that idea that it's there.
It's there.
So don't let these other outside influences affect
Try
you.
to stop it.
You have it. Every child
exactly
has it. And I love that we get together, so like you were talking about drawing, and you have these two babies here drawing on Martin Luther King, one of the quotes that Martin Luther King wrote. That was stated, and it's imprinted in here. Justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And I just love that, you know, we have these quotes of Martin Luther King Jr. and our children learning from you and Amun-Ra and all, you know.
And you,
you know, and Rastromo, and, you know, and just the idea of imparting heritage, history, knowledge, and empowerment. You know, I just love that so much. I love it. And then I love that we get to see so many come back every year to us.
I know. And you know, on Sundays too, it's usually, well, it does fall on Father's Day. So you get fathers to come out, and even if they just bring the little ones over just to scratch something, you know, it's such a heart-filling thing, you know, because our fathers are so important in our lives, you know. And it's, well, our mothers too, but, you know, but it's good on Father's Day to see them share their time on the chalk walk, you know, with their children.
I love seeing the fathers also come on over and start working with their babies, daughters or sons, nieces and nephews, and they're at the jewelry table.
Right.
And they're making jewelry with the babies. I love that.
I do too. I have a very nice picture. I hope that my iPad let me send of a whole group of tape of women, and they're just into this jewelry. They're just they're creating, you know. And that's the whole thing about this creation. You know it's in you. And sometimes you don't have a chance to express it in other ways. And so the chalking or the making of the jewelry or painting or whatever, it's a release of something that, you know, sometimes is bottled up for whatever reasons, and you have a chance to express it, you know, get it out on some chalk walk or some jewelry or some painting. I saw the one picture the brother had done self-portrait. It was so much like him. He just sat there the whole time and did his art. It's so beautiful. And I'm so glad, Michele, that you offer so much. I mean, you know, I said, you know, you such an advocate for the cultural arts, and you do it so peacefully and lovingly and kind. You're just a wonderful person.
Thank you. I want to make sure I acknowledge the Buffalo Public School art teachers that all out and help, because they come out and they volunteer their time most of the time.
Yes.
And
I'm glad that you did. Yeah.
Yes, and they in fact, they may be doing a video because they feel so sad that they're not part of this too, but they have given so much time. They don't get paid for that time.
Right.
They are there to enjoy and celebrate with the children that they serve.
Right.
So I want to give
and
I'd
like to say they are marvelous too, because they come out and work hard. They work hard.
So I want to give a shout out to them. So I wanted to make sure I shared that.
I just want to say at the end, because I know I have spoken on Amun-Ra, and you have also, but that is the glue for the African Heritage Chalk Walk. He's the one. So I just want to shout out to him. Bye-bye, Amun-Ra.
He is. He definitely is. And, you know, and I think it's so interesting that we're doing this virtually this year, you know, and I'm going to end up doing a little activity just so that we can share our some art fun for children at this point. But
that's excellent. That's an excellent idea. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but you know, I'm sad that I can't share this in person with you and with the rest of our Juneteenth family. But I am, in a way, also excited about the potential of this, because we may be able to share our love for this and the love of the work that we do and the history of Juneteenth Buffalo with so many more people than we ever have before, because this is a video.
Because of the Bible, yeah.
And I'm looking forward to 2021 when we can do this in person again, to enjoy you and Amun-Ra, all my teachers and all the kids that come and all the families that visit us. And it's the people that make Juneteenth powerful.
It is.
That's why I wanted to post some of my pictures, because you could just feel such positive energy every time you go.
Yes, and it's a celebration, as festivals are. Just the culture is just so fabulous, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Michele, enjoy your beautiful self.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you too. Thank you for this. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, let me see before you put this out in the air.
You know I will. Don't worry.
Okay, dear. Have a great day. Peace to the family.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.